Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing? Welcome to $3 Theater. My name is Matt Jarbo, and Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, whatever it is you celebrate. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today, of course, is Christmas 2020. It's been a rough year. Terrible year in some aspects of it, and there's one thing that I think has been pretty cool, a pretty big bright spot on the whole nerd horizon, and that has been the absolute well-loved Mandalorian Season 2, a show that brought this 38-year-old man to tears, literally, during the Season 2 finale. And one of the things I talked about the other day was, of course, asking the question whether or not Kevin Feige is the hidden mastermind to this entire show, whether or not he is a person who is stealth producing The Mandalorian. I asked that question simply because it felt like it. It felt like Mandalorian Season 2 was, quite frankly, Iron Man 2. And I'll talk about that here in a second. But the reason why I felt that way was actually somewhat confirmed to me by when I was sent this scoop by my good friend Mikey Sutton over at Geekosity for his Scoop Jam on Christmas. And he wanted to fill me in on the real scoop, the truth about what's going on with Kevin Feige's involvement with The Mandalorian and Star Wars in general. And the truth of the matter is he's been around. He's actually been around since the beginning of the creation of The Mandalorian, of putting it out there. He's been helping out. Now, I don't have any confirmation of this outside of one interesting late August 2019 report from The Hollywood Reporter that said that Kevin Feige was going to be producing a Star Wars film. This, of course, was coming out before the events of The Mandalorian, or before the release of The Mandalorian, and months before the release of The Rise of Skywalker. And it felt very weird to have it come out in August of all times. So Kevin Feige was rumored to be producing a Star Wars film, and ever since then, there's been no piece of information. There's been nothing about this that's come out. Well, I think The Mandalorian Season 2 kind of explains it, especially considering the fact that in episode 13, or chapter 13, The Jedi, we found out that Ahsoka Tano is in fact searching for Grand Admiral Thrawn. She only mentions him once by name, but that was enough to kind of send the Star Wars internet, at least the EU fans, into maximum freaking overdrive. And the reason why was because this is a big bad that people out there really love, especially considering the fact that they brought him back for Star Wars Rebels in the Season 3 premiere back in 2016. So he's been on the horizon of Star Wars fans for many, many, many years, and we are now going to see him in live action, which was previously rumored by other people a while ago anyway. So here's, from my understanding, according to Mikey Sutton, what exactly Kevin Feige is up to. And it basically boils down to this. I'm going to use Iron Man 2 as a direct comparison, and I think you guys are going to see where I'm going with this. One of the key complaints about Iron Man 2 is didn't really feel much like an Iron Man story. It felt like a setup for an Avengers film, which it ultimately was. We got the introduction of Rhodey as War Machine, we got to meet Black Widow, we got more Coulson, we got a bit more Nick Fury, and we got a bit larger of the world as we know it. And of course, this was setting up the first ending of the first phase of the MCU, when we first discovered then that Thanos was going to be the ultimate villain of the first 11 years of the franchise. And this was a big pivotal moment, and it all kind of started with Iron Man 2. Now let's take that same idea, that same approach, and let's kind of twist it towards The Mandalorian Season 2. There were a lot of people that were making a lot of, well, I don't want to say complaints, but comparisons, or asking the question that Mando seemed almost like a guest in his own show. I actually made a video about that a couple weeks ago because it did feel that The Mandalorian, Din Djarin, was kind of just a guest in his own show for Season 2. As remarkable as it was, as great as it was, it kind of felt like every week there was a new quest and every week there was a new guest star, and it didn't really feel sometimes that it was really about The Mandalorian. Well, now we know because of this exchange at the Disney Investor Day from Kathleen Kennedy.
Today, I'm excited to share with you that John and Dave are concurrently developing two new spin-off series exclusively for Disney+. One, The Rangers of the New Republic, and the other featuring fan favorite, Ahsoka Tano. Set within the timeline of The Mandalorian, these interconnected shows, along with future stories, will excite new audiences, embrace our most passionate fans, and will culminate in a climactic story event.
We now know that Rangers of the New Republic and Ahsoka are going to meet up in a, well, shared story experience. What that basically means is they're setting up an Avengers level event. They are setting up a story where it's going to converge the Mandalorian, it's going to converge Rangers of the New Republic and Ahsoka, and probably even Boba Fett, and maybe any of the other shows. Maybe characters we meet in Cassian Andor, characters we meet in Obi-Wan are going to pop up in this story event that's going to show us Thrawn. They're going to establish Thrawn. And as I talked about in my previous Scoop video, that Lucasfilm is currently looking into adapting Heir of the Empire, which is Timothy Zahn's first book on Thrawn and the Star Wars Expanded Universe's first time experiencing Thrawn. It seems to make the most amount of sense that this is really where they're going. Of course, it's going to clearly be an adaptation, but the truth of the matter is it's going to be a pretty cool adaptation, if I do say so myself. And this is all Kevin Feige, establishing a villain early on, one that fans know, one that fans like, and then building up to the villain, adding in new characters like Bo-Katan and Ahsoka Tano and Boba Fett, characters that we know, characters that we love, characters that we get to see on the big screen, give them their own shows, i.e. their own movies, bring them into a shared experience. They are absolutely taking the Marvel Cinematic Universe playbook and they are using it to the T. And quite frankly, I'm really excited to see where this thing goes. I'm really excited to see what happens with this. And Kevin Feige has said that he loves Star Wars more than he loves Marvel. And this man has revolutionized superhero movies. He's revolutionized superhero storytelling, and he's giving us the biggest franchise on the planet. And now from behind the scenes, he's doing it again with the Mandalorian. Now you might be asking yourself, why doesn't he take credit? Or what about Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni? Don't they deserve any credit? And yes, that is, I'm not trying to downplay that. Some of you out there might think that. I'm not trying to downplay that at all. He actually doesn't want anyone to really put the spotlight on him. As I mentioned before about him kind of being a hidden producer, he did this with Venom. He actually stealth produced Venom by offering up a lot of consultation, and he offered a lot of advice. And I think that did help that movie gross the money that it did. And I think it's only going to make Venom 2 and Morbius and whatever Sony does as expanding upon that even better, because he is going to be offering his input. People look to him because this dude gets it. He understands it. And so as a result of that, yeah, I think he's bringing his expertise to Star Wars in a way that it needed to be. A lot of people wanted him to take over when the news broke in August of 2019 and to remove Kathleen Kennedy. And I think he's been playing his part on the sidelines, trying not to take away any of the attention from the actual creators that are doing the work. He's just offering up the guidebook and the know-how and consulting. He's not taking over, he's not running it, but he is helping. And we can see how that's played out. And when you have a good producer with good creators and you have a good synergy, you know what you get? You get The Mandalorian season 1 and season 2. And I don't know about you, but I cannot wait to see what happens next. And so, as always, I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your opinions on this. Let me know down in the comment section. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. Thank you very much for watching. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, whatever it is you celebrate. I hope you're having yourself a great day. And remember, Star Wars is great. Don't ever let anyone tell you any different. All right, guys. Merry Christmas, and may the Force be with you.